I'm Rosalind Carita, and this is History and Heritage. And today we are standing in front of what we call Sevier Station, 1791. And this is a mystery. This really is a mystery show. We're going to talk about, is it or isn't it Sevier Station? Stay with us and help us solve the mystery.
Hi, I'm Major Jim Lawrence with the Salvation Army here at the Salvation Army Family Store, and we could really use your help. And anything that you give to us will help those that are less fortunate in our community. And also, if you come in and volunteer at the thrift store or the family store, it would be great because you could separate clothes that goes to those that are less fortunate in our community. Thank you very much for what you're doing in our community.
At Salvation Army. From exploring your local community to finding new adventures in the outdoors and discovering the world, Girl Scouts opens doors to new and exciting experiences for girls. Girl Scouts builds girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. Through Girl Scouts, girls and adult volunteers discover the fun, friendship, and power of girls together. Interested in joining? Girls and adult volunteers are welcome in Girl Scouts. Please contact me, Bethany Kelly, at your local Girl Scout office by calling 931-648-1060 or visit us on our website at www.gsmidtn.org. Again, interested? Call 931-648-1060.
I'm here today with William Parker, and you may remember William because you know him from Fort Defiance. Now we're standing in front of something that actually predates Fort Defiance.
Yes, it does.
How old is this history?
That's a good way to put this. How old is the history? 1791.
Okay.
That is when the interpretation starts on this site up here.
All right, and what happened?
What we know for sure.
Okay.
On this site somewhere, Valentine Sevier moved here with his family in 1791.
Okay, now Valentine Sevier, how did he get here? Didn't he come on a flatboat?
He did, from North Carolina, and this was actually part of North Carolina
at that time.
At that time also.
Okay.
That's correct.
So his family, who all was in his family? He wasn't by himself. A lot of times the pioneers would start out by themselves, but he brought his whole family.
He brought his whole family.
Okay, who all?
He brought at least 5 children,
Okay.
at least 6 children,
Okay.
and there were some grandchildren too. The exact number we've not been able to peg down yet, but at least that many came with him.
So when you say he had grandchildren, obviously then he was a grown man. Did he bring grown children?
Yes.
I guess obviously he did, yeah.
That is correct.
So in other words, what he really brought with him was his own workforce.
Yes.
And we know that that is something that they also did. I know when we talked to Mr. Bailey Allen at his farm, the way they really got started was it was a whole big family that came, and they started building and helped each other. So that's how he started.
That's right, on a land grant.
Valentine Sevier, okay, and how did he get the land grant?
That's an interesting story too. He was a Revolutionary War soldier.
Okay, that's what I thought you were going to tell me.
But this was not his land grant. He purchased his land grant from another veteran.
And that was not an uncommon thing to happen. I understand that there were lots of folks who sold their land grant. They were happy where they were, they sold it.
And what's interesting about it, it was written in Valentine Sevier's enlistment that he was not going to get a land grant.
Is there a reason he wasn't going to get one?
Further compensation.
So they paid him instead of giving
him a land grant.
Okay.
And it was 640 acres total up here that he
So
purchased.
this was huge.
Considerable piece of property up here.
Right. Do we know who he got the land from?
I've got the man. You nailed me.
I asked you.
Yep, you did. I do have the man's name. He was from North Carolina too.
Okay, and he bought it, and probably we have some sort of actual document.
It exists, yes.
Somewhere.
It is somewhere.
Okay.
We don't have it in our collection yet, but it does exist.
Yes, that's the emphasis.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay, so we have Valentine Sevier and his family coming from North Carolina on a flatboat. They come down the Cumberland.
Right.
And what happens?
And a lot of people don't. Clarksville was a fairly thriving town. In this, it was called a territory back then.
Right.
In this territory, there were about 1,400 people. Okay.
And this is late 1790.
1790s.
Okay.
That's right. But most of them were on the other side of the river.
When you say the other side, you mean on the New Providence?
We're on the New Providence side now.
Okay,
Yeah.
they were on the other side.
Clarksville,
Okay.
the city side.
Okay, they were on the Clarksville side. We are currently on the New Providence side, so that you
Right.
can figure out exactly where we are.
So
okay.
he was fairly isolated over here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Which turned out to be his detriment.
Okay, so tell us what happened.
He was beset by tragedy. He had 3 sons that were killed. They were on out on an expedition. 3 of them were killed even before the massacre up here. And on November the 11th of 1794, got to get my centuries right.
Yeah.
He and his family were up here. There was a blacksmith shop that sat somewhere up here, and he was attacked. His family was attacked by at least a party of 40 Indians.
40.
Right.
That's large.
Warriors
And
of several different. It was a conglomeration of several different local tribes that were around
now that's
here.
interesting too. So it wasn't just one tribe, because obviously at that time settlers were coming in and they were taking the Indians' land and taking where they hunted. And
But what's interesting about this, in the blacksmith shop, his son actually had some firearms that he was repairing for the Indians. So they were working together here.
interesting.
Yeah, it's not like they just led 2 separate lives.
Right.
They were working together, and that was one of the first places that these Indians hit, was the blacksmith shop to obtain those
Weapons.
firearms, the
Right.
weapons. And during the attack, which lasted about an hour,
Okay.
6 members of his family were killed in that massacre. Rebecca, probably the most infamous, famous,
Right.
she did survive. The daughter, she was scalped, but did survive.
How old was she at this time? Any idea? Grown
Was
woman?
she 12, I believe?
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
a young lady.
Young girl.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but she lived on up to a old age.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they didn't expect her to survive.
So okay, who's left in the family then after the Indian massacre? Only Rebecca?
Well, Rebecca, Valentine, and
Okay.
his wife,
Okay.
they survived. And after this massacre,
They left.
they left.
And did they
they
go
left.
back to North Carolina?
They went to Nashville.
Okay, now
Yep.
this comes together.
Yeah,
okay.
they went to Nashville. And they did come back to Clarksville, but they lived on the other side of the river, and he died in 1800. And he's buried over there in the Riverview Cemetery.
We'll have to go to the Greenwood Cemetery and
Riverview.
I'm
Right.
sorry,
Mhm.
Riverview Cemetery, and find
That would be wonderful.
grave.
Yes.
Okay, so we know that he came here. Now let's talk about what is this actual building. But before we start, we are really, really close to Fort Defiance.
That's right.
We are how far?
A few hundred yards.
So we are right here, and I think people pass this every day if they're on the New Providence side and don't really realize it. You all have just recently really cleaned this up.
Yes, we have. And this is just the beginning. Yes.
You know, we have so many people that help you, so many people that love history. I wonder if you might just give a little credit to some of the people who helped you get this where we can actually see it and cleaned it up.
We sure can. The Montgomery County Historical Society. Yes.
And they all volunteered and really worked hard, and I know you have some of the same folks over and over again that come out here and work.
And you notice our new roof?
Yes, I saw that we have a new roof. All right, so tell us, what is this building? What do we think it is, or what do we hope it is?
Okay. We know that this building is the oldest structure in Montgomery County.
Okay.
Yes, we know that for sure.
And when we say that, we mean these rocks right here.
That's right.
This is not a replica. This right here is
Yes.
the oldest building in Montgomery County.
That's correct.
Okay.
And how the controversy starts. During the 1820s, this was the kitchen for the Atkinson house that sat here. And it actually wasn't torn down until the early 90s.
So that's why people didn't see it. There was a house in front of it from here to the street.
Right.
Okay.
Some Clarksvillians may even remember the house being here.
Okay. And
Yes.
so essentially that's what saved it, was the fact that it was the kitchen, that it wasn't that there was another structure occupying the land.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then tell us, that house, people didn't live in it. How long did people live in the house that was in front of it?
Well, 1821 is
Okay.
when that house was built.
Okay.
That's where the figure of this being possibly 1821 comes in.
Okay.
Because that's when that house was built.
All right.
Okay. And it stayed here until the early 90s. And it wasn't until recently that some people started delving a little bit deeper into this and started thinking, maybe this isn't the Sevier Station that we've generations here
Have
have
thought that it was. Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
And I've got to add that as we speak, there is still research going on. Several professors, retired professors from Austin Peay, are tromping through the woods over here to find a possible different site if this wasn't exactly where it was. But we are for sure that this is the oldest structure in Montgomery County, and the Valentine Sevier, it's not a legend. It happened somewhere on this this hill up here.
And so you are actively trying to find some way to establish definitively.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We are looking, going back to old newspapers, diaries, old photographs,
old maps, anything.
Maps, excellent source right there.
Right.
Whatever we can find to try to pin down this this mystery.
William, you gave me this one picture that I think is probably the only picture we have of the interior of what we think is Sevier Station.
Right.
And, you know, you can't help but really want to look inside there. And as we were out there, there really is nothing inside of it. There's no artifacts. And just to sort of line it up historically, from 1794, the Seviers left, and we think that that building, either some people that we just don't have any historical knowledge about yet moved in, or it just was empty. And so it was 1821 when the house was built beside it.
That's correct.
And so we're so fortunate to have some pictures, but this first picture is inside, and this must have been when it was used as a kitchen, do you think?
Probably, yes.
Okay.
Which it was the kitchen of the Atkinson house.
Okay. I think that is an amazing picture. You just can't help but be curious about what's inside there. But we do know that it was used, that it really was some kind of functioning building.
Absolutely.
And there you have the pictures that I think are so interesting when we see what the actual Atkinson house looked like. And this one is a picture from the front. And then this picture is the one where you said you clearly see the Sevier Station
That really
building.
gives you the sight of what it looked like when it was attached to the Atkinson house.
So possibly it stood there for about a little less than 30 years, and we don't know
That's
what
right.
happened. But this house then was built, and we know historically that homes built in that time would have an outdoor kitchen or an attached kitchen, and that was perfect because it was stone, it wouldn't burn.
Fireproof.
So that was perfect. So I think having these pictures helps you with your historical chase.
It brings it to life when you see those photographs.
It does. And you know, we talked a little bit about the people who have helped you. And you know, we know that the Historical Society has done a lot. But you mentioned a couple of other groups too that I just really feel like we need to give some credit to. One of the groups was the group that is the Confederate
SCV.
Okay, tell me what those initials stand for.
Sons of Confederate Veterans.
Okay, and so they have been helpful to you.
Absolutely, very strong organization.
And then you mentioned a couple of other organizations.
I can't forget the Friends of Fort Defiance. They have stuck with this site up here since day one.
Yeah.
And they're still around. They're still very helpful. Matter of fact, they came up here last weekend and on a Saturday morning and cleaned all of our windows for us.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well, one of the touching pieces of this, when we were looking at the pictures, we came across a picture of Ursula Beach. And for those of you who are Clarksvillians or who are my age or over, you know Ursula Beach. And we're going to show you some great pictures. Ursula had so much energy, and the pictures that we have are Ursula herself climbed up on, this is in 1966, and she's on the top of a ladder, and she's got great big snippers, and she is trying to protect this structure from trees or branches.
Ms. Beach was absolutely convinced that this was Sevier Station.
Oh.
You were not going to change her mind.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll find that it is Sevier Station.
Well, I hope it is too. I hope we do.
So we've got some great, I think these are wonderful pictures, and again, these are sort of the kind of thing that we look for. If anyone has pictures that could help us in this mystery, this is the place to send them because we can use them. And I think that we have some other, you had one really good newspaper article, and this was 1987.
Not too long ago.
Not too long, but it does do a nice story on the county's oldest structure.
And you see the house was still there.
Right.
In 87.
And so that's one of the reasons people really just couldn't see it. And I see that there was a sign, the Valentine Sevier Memorial, but now it's by itself and you have a good sign so that when people drive up they can really see it.
That's correct.
Well, I think that your duty is in front of you of trying to decide and really figure out if we have any other artifacts, if you have any other pieces of this story that we can put together.
We definitely have our work cut out for us up here, no doubt about that. But
yes.
It's a fun mystery to try to solve. A lot of people are excited about it.
And will continue to be as they come up here.
That's right.
Let's go ahead and take a walk around, and we will look at this from all sides.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Major Jim Lawrence with the Salvation Army here at the Salvation Army Family Store, and we could really use your help. And anything that you give to us will help those that are less fortunate in our community. And also, if you come in and volunteer at the thrift store or the family store, it would be great because you could separate clothes that goes to those that are less fortunate in our community. Thank you very much for what you're doing in our community.
At Salvation Army. From exploring your local community to finding new adventures in the outdoors and discovering the world, Girl Scouts opens doors to new and exciting experiences for girls. Girl Scouts builds girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. Through Girl Scouts, girls and adult volunteers discover the fun, friendship, and power of girls together. Interested in joining? Girls and adult volunteers are welcome in Girl Scouts. Please contact me, Bethany Kelly, at your local Girl Scout office by calling 931-648-1060 or visit us on our website at www.gsmidtn.org. Again, interested? Call 931-648-1060.
now going to talk a little bit about the plans for the future. So, William, you told me that you guys really are trying to, number one, solve the mystery.
Right.
Is this really Sevier Station? Let's kind of walk around and you paint a picture for us of what it is you're going to try to do. Do we own this?
We do, the city.
The city owns it.
That's correct.
And do we own all this lot here?
This lot that you see right here.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what are your plans to do with this? Are you going to make it into an interpretive center like we have?
It probably won't be a formal interpretive center. What we want to do is just make it more appealing to a visitor.
Okay.
Where they will want to. Well, you did notice a new roof. We talked about that.
Yes. And so how did y'all pay for this?
Through a donation.
Okay.
We have Montgomery County Historical Society.
God love them. They
Right.
really, I mean, what a group of good folks that work and raise money and try to save historical features, I guess we would say. Exactly.
That's right. And it already has made such an improvement aesthetically of what this property looks like.
Oh, yeah.
We're also going to add a new interpretive sign out front. We're going to clean up the ones that are there.
Right.
The Daughters of the American Revolution have agreed to do that. So there's
Wonderful.
another organization
That's
I should have
right, that
mentioned
really-
earlier.
yes, yeah.
They're going to clean those up.
Now on this side, as we were kind of looking, okay, we do have a window over here that we can
Right.
kind of look into. And I see that you have bars, obviously, to protect
Right.
just from vandal.
Yeah, this isn't a jail. Some people say
That's
that,
right.
that jail house over there. Yeah.
It's not a jail.
No, it's not a jail.
So we can see in, and we see that there clearly was a fireplace.
Right.
But unusual in that it's two separate, there's no way to go back and forth. It's two separate houses
Yeah.
under one roof,
That's
literally. And you said that you knew that these are local stones.
That is correct.
Cut here.
Right.
And so they did this in 1791.
1791 to 1821.
Okay.
Right, somewhere right in there.
Okay.
That's correct.
So you said that one of the features that helps you think that this is the real Sevier Station was a portal. Tell us just a little bit about that. How do we know about that?
Valentine Sevier wrote an account of what happened up here. Fairly detailed account.
Okay.
Right?
How would people access that if they wanted to read that account?
Well, if they wanted to, they could come by here to the visitor center. We have it on file here.
Okay.
That would be the easiest way.
Okay.
I'm sure it's in the library also.
Okay,
But,
but they
if somebody
could
wants
come
a
to Fort
copy of
Defiance.
it,
Okay.
absolutely, I'll make a copy for them.
Excellent. Okay. And so you were starting to say how he...
He mentions in there that he obtained his blunderbuss, which I don't know if the
Oh yeah, we think of the pilgrims, you know,
Pilgrims, thank you,
with a big funnel barrel
That's
and just
it.
shoots things out everywhere.
And what's interesting about that, somebody had gone off with all the ammunition, hunting. He
Okay.
didn't have any ammunition. So he loaded that thing with glass, rusty nails, which is what they were made for, designed
Right,
for.
right.
Loaded that thing up. He got off 2 shots. The first one wounded an Indian because he said, I saw them picking him up, carrying him off.
Okay.
They were still here. He loaded again, fired again, and that dispersed them. And it scared them so much, I find this interesting, the weapons that they had taken out of the blacksmith shop, they dropped them and left them.
Huh.
Yeah, it
Now
must have startled them that much. But he did fire out of that portal you were talking about, which is on the front
Okay.
of the structure here.
And so this structure has a window on each side
Mm-hmm.
and then one window on the other side for the back room and the front door, and now a new roof. So the next thing, y'all are trying to, one, solve the mystery to find out if it is. So what will be the next thing that you do? I know you said the sign.
The signs. We're going to have improved parking here.
That's excellent.
Yes, you won't have to
Excellent.
park on the road anymore.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Or,
so
or
you
the
can
little
really
narrow
come up.
drive. Absolutely.
That's great.
It'll be more friendly. Like I said, more people will feel more at ease parking up here instead of
Right.
just parking on the road. Yeah,
That sounds great.
that's important.
Right. So you were talking about the professor stomping around in the woods trying to find any kind of way to identify any other thing that was up here. Have y'all had archaeologists come up here? Or?
We have, and that's another reason. That's what originally swayed the people away from thinking that this was the original site.
Okay.
Because they did not find any archaeological evidence
Okay.
dating back that far.
But that doesn't mean that it didn't. It
Absolutely
just means
not.
we didn't find anything.
That's correct.
Right.
And even that standing by itself is not going to convince me.
Okay.
Right.
So you think this is it? I'm putting you on the spot.
You are, and I'm going to do the politician. Maybe yes, maybe no. How about that? I'll read the account and I'll say, you know what? I think it is.
Yeah.
I really do. And then I'll read another one and I'm not really sure.
Right.
But like I said, we're doing so much investigative work now that maybe during my lifetime, maybe
Yeah.
we can actually figure it out.
Right.
But not to worm away out of the question. I'm not
Right.
totally sure either way.
So if there were people here in Montgomery County that wanted to help, would they get in touch with you? Would they just call Fort Defiance and say, you know, I'd really like to help you. Do you have a project I could work on?
Absolutely. Or just come by the fort. They can call me. They can come by the fort. And I would love to, we'll put them to work doing, even if it's just doing research.
Right.
There is so much untapped research out there that, and it seems like you open one door,
Right.
and 10 more open.
Right. Well, and you know, Jill Hastings at the archives, they have people who come in and help them search through all kinds of artifacts. People in Montgomery County have been very generous. They donate things to the museum, to the archives, and those are the kind of pieces, I mean, you never know what somebody has in their attic or that their great-grandma gave them that they've hung on to. That could be very meaningful in this puzzle. So if you are interested, I mean, this whole show is about history and heritage, and if you are interested in helping William to find whether or not this was really Sevier Station, give him a call at Fort Defiance. Tell us that number real quick.
Area code 931, and this is my direct line here.
Okay.
Area code 931-216-3008.
Great. Let's take a look at the portal in the front that we think was used for the shooting out, and just take a look at the front again.
For 15 seconds, can I add one quick thing
Sure.
here? You were talking about people finding different sources.
Yes.
One of my volunteers 2 weeks ago was in Stewart County, and they were tearing down a barn. And the owner of the barn said, take whatever you want. Whatever's in there, you can have it. He found a box of newspaper clippings from the turn of the century up to the 1930s.
Oh,
and
wow.
they're all from Clarksville. And some are from the Nashville, the Banner. There were several photographs I've never seen of this site right here.
So that is the kind of thing.
Priceless accounts that I'd never even heard of. One of them of a local Clarksville soldier that was wounded in Virginia, and it gave his name, and the mini ball popped out of his wound in the 1920s.
Oh my
and
gosh.
that made the newspaper.
How that is very
Human
interesting.
interest, this story there. So
Well, and so really, lots of folks have things they don't even realize. You know, like you said, tearing down an old barn, and somebody thought that was important, or maybe they just didn't want to throw them away. But it opens a window
Yes,
for
it
us to
does.
really look into the history.
Yes, it does.
Well, let's take a look at that
Yes.
portal. So this is the portal right here where you think that Valentine Sevier actually shot out of. Now, tell me about this beam across this. Is
that would have been here, absolutely.
It would have been.
That's correct, and that was one of the pieces that was added new with the roof.
Okay,
Right.
but it would have been there,
Yes.
but it was totally gone, and so y'all replaced it.
That is correct.
Okay.
Right.
So this is, we think, Sevier Station, and we're just a stone's throw from Fort Defiance.
That's right.
And I wanted to ask you to tell us the hours and time, or the dates and hours that Fort Defiance is open, and would really like to encourage folks to come out and learn about this history.
We are open 7 days a week. Sunday from 12 till 5, every other day from 10 to 5.
And is there a charge to come to Fort Defiance?
Everything is free. So there's
Doesn't
no
get any better.
reason, no reason not to come up here. It's all
Yeah.
free.
This is History and Heritage. It is an opportunity for you to bring your children and to do something together that is wholesome and free. Remember, it's your history and your heritage. Thank you, William.
Thank you. That was fun.